This is a Brown Bess musket. It's actually English or British in origin, but because the Americans were a British colony, many of the Continental soldiers would have carried these. It is a 75 caliber musket, and just to give you an idea, this is a musket ball. It's about 75 caliber, so that's about 3/4 of an inch. These were lead musket balls, so you can imagine these being fired at you. Soldiers would have been given the command to prime and load. When this order came, the soldiers would instinctively drop their weapons across their chest. They would open their pans. They would then handle their cartridge. They would reach into their cartridge box, pull out one of those cartridges. It was important that you had 2 functioning teeth at that time, at least one on the top, one on the bottom, because then you would then tear the top of the cartridge off, like that, revealing the black powder inside. You would then prime your musket, and that is pouring a little bit of that gunpowder into the pan of the musket. Then you would shut your pan. You would cast about, bring your musket down like this, and then you would pour the remaining gunpowder and the musket ball and the paper, which served as wadding, down the barrel. You would remove your ramrod. You would ram that all down to the bottom. You would pull the ramrod back out, and then you would return your rammer, and then you would bring your musket up to the shoulder. This soldier is now armed and ready to fire into the enemy. Then the commands would come to fire on the enemy. Now you can imagine on a battlefield, you're going to see the smoke and fire from one musket, but go ahead and multiply that by thousands to get an idea of the noise and smoke and confusion that would have been on a Revolutionary War battlefield. So here are the commands. To the left, face. They would then get the command, make ready. Soldiers would cock their weapon, so full cock. Now they're ready to fire. You would then get the command, take aim. You would then aim down your barrel towards the enemy, and then the command would come, fire! Soldiers would then return their musket, and then oftentimes the command would come, prime and load again, and you would go through the motions immediately. You will also notice on the strap to my cartridge box a whisk and pick, and this was for maintenance on my musket during a battle. Sometimes you would have what they would call a flash in the pan, and that is when the little touch hole into the breech got so clogged with gunpowder residue that you would have this little whisk that you could then sweep out any of the additional powder in that pan, and the pick that you could just put right into that touch hole and just pick out any of that gunpowder residue. So this was at locations right here on my chest, so it's easy to do, like I said, in the middle of a battle. Now these are smoothbore muskets, so there's no rifling on the inside, so when the ball came out, it wasn't very accurate. So the men would march in large columns and then fight shoulder to shoulder, firing, hoping to kill as many of the enemy. But ultimately, many Revolutionary War battles came down to the bayonet charge, where the soldiers would level their bayonets, charge forward, and drive the enemy off the field, sometimes ending in hand-to-hand combat. And oftentimes, the enemy would retreat before you could get up on them with the bayonet.
Hello, this is Trace Atkins. Get inspired at battlefields.org.